Bringing that up, didn't know how to navigate or something. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So you teed it up.
Good job.
Sir.
Nice to see you.
I just want to go over the front, otherwise you swear off.
Yes, yeah.
I read that, all you did then.
Well, no, they did that locally like 6 months ago.
I know that.
Yes, I know. Why do you think of here?
Oh, yeah, float back.
We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. Okay. You guys just move over. 1, 2, 3. I'm sure.
Yeah, so.
We're working down.
Buenas que se me ve.
Right next to, Brian.
Oh.
Reporting in progress.
Good afternoon, everybody. We go ahead and call to order the capital area polling authority meeting.
You need to use your mic.
Okay, my microphone is probably going to be helpful. All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural Capital Area Regional Tolling Authority meeting. We're running a little bit behind already, so expediency is going to be helpful. If you have something to present, be brief, be seen, be seated, as they know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start as we continue to proceed eating our lunch from the prior meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. I think that would be the appropriate thing to start with. Mr. James Corliss, if you'll lead us.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, so maybe to begin with, what we'll do is we'll just do introductions, just so that everybody knows who everybody is sitting around the table. We'll start to my far left. Mike, you will? Brief introduction, yep, just.
Okay, so Mike Maurer, General Counsel for SACOG.
Eric Johnson, Deputy Executive Director of Operations at SACOG.
Christina Spence, Director of Transportation at SACOG.
James Corliss, Executive Director of SACOG.
Robert Tadovich, Deputy Clerk at SACOG.
Lynn Espinoza, Clerk to the Board.
Josh Chapman, CARTA Board Member, and Mayor Davis.
Woody Deloria, Executive Director of the Alvarado Communication Commission.
Kirk Trost, Special Counsel to Yellow TD.
Matt Click, Executive Director, PCTPA.
Surja Service, Acting Caltrans District 3 Director.
Patrick Kennedy, SACOG's at-large appointee.
Oscar Villegas, Yolo County Supervisor.
Dr. Dante Early, CARTA Board Member, as well as West Sacramento City Council Member.
Eric Guerra, ex officio STA appointee to CARTA and Sacramento City Council Member. That's it. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so I'm just gonna look to James as we move forward. We have one more.
Hey, one more. Oh, Quinn Bear? Quinn,
She's on her.
introduce yourself. Green button, right there. Press it. Introduce yourself. You got this.
What?
Your name.
My name is Quinn.
Very good. Welcome. All right, very good. All right, so I'll look to James. So I think the next item we need is an oath and a roll call, I guess, right? So we want to make sure, very good. So we'll look to the clerk for roll call.
All right, directors, when I call your name, please indicate your presence. Aceves. Chapman.
Here.
Early.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Villegas.
Here.
Ex officio members Click.
Here.
Deloria. Guerra.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. All right, with that, then we move to oath of office. So James, what are we, or I'm sorry.
Director Villegas, I do have the oath of office here, so we'll do this all together. We do have two county supervisors on the board who can administer the oath, but I'll go ahead and read it for everyone to just repeat after me. So I state your name,
I, Dante Early,
do solemnly swear
do
that I will support.
my bad.
I'll do it again. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution
that I will bear true faith to the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
of the United States and the Constitution of California.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties of which upon which I'm about to enter.
And during such times as
Yes.
I am
And during such times
As I am.
Director for the Capital Area Regional Tolling Authority,
Director of the Capital Region,
I will faithfully discharge the duties
will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
That's the end of it.
Thank God.
That was a hot mess. Good job, guys. Good job, team.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Very good. All right, very good. So with that, then we move to public communication. Any person wishing to address this committee on items that are not on the agenda, now would be the time. I don't know if there's slips, Lynette, is that how we're doing this or?
Yes, thank you. We should call for public communications.
All right, so that now would be the opportunity. Is there anybody here that wants to address the CARTA board? Now would be the time.
There's no public comment.
Very good. All right, moving on. Action items. Number one. So that takes us to election of chair, vice chair, and designation of secretary, auditor, controller, and treasurer, and agency.
So I'll simply ask Director Villegas, do we have any nominations for chair?
All right, so then I would ask my colleagues, do we have any nominations for chair, vice chair?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Director Villegas and Director Early for chair and vice chair.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and close nominations, and then we will now ask the board for consideration with a motion. Is there a second?
Early seconds.
All right, so a motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, oh, public comment.
There's no public comment for this
There is
item.
no public comment. There is no public comment. All right, so with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion before us signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that sufficient, Lynette, for what you need?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries.
Okay. Motion carries. So we, and just so that everybody knows, under the next item of the bylaws, so the chair position, chair, vice chair position is for a 12-month period, unless there's it needs to be considered every 12 months, but if there isn't a change, it will just continue. So at the moment, 12 months from now, we'll take this item up again. All right, so with that, item 2 is adoption of the bylaws, so I'll look to.
Chair Villegas,
Yeah.
I'll keep us moving on this one. What we've put together are some very basic bylaws. It's essentially template form bylaws. I will note this is something that the board can revisit at any time. You can readopt at any time. So it's, in some ways, it feels a little cart before the horse where we haven't actually started operating, but we did want to get this in front of the board. I will note the one distinction with these bylaws is per the SACOG's board request, we did include some specific requirements from AB 194, which is the bill that authorizes tolling and tolling authorities. So we have put those in there just so the board and the public can see what those requirements are. Otherwise, we're happy to answer any questions, or we could take a motion to approve the bylaws. And check if there's public comment.
Very good. So we'll, actually, we'll check if there's any public comment initially.
There's no
Seeing
public comment.
Public comment, then we'll bring it back. Oh, there is or not?
There's no public comment.
No public comment. Very good. Okay, so we'll bring it back for further comments, questions, or consideration of adoption of the bylaws as presented by staff. Move approval. So we have a motion to approve the bylaws. Is there a second?
Early seconds.
So we have a second to my, yep. Okay, very good. So we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we do have bylaws. Thank you very much. That's short and sweet. Okay, so the adoption of the meeting schedule is the next item. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you all. Congratulations on your first inaugural meeting, and thank you for your service, Chair Villegas. So very simply, we have proposed that the CARTA board should meet quarterly, immediately following the SACOG board meetings for those appropriate months. The months that are included in the staff report have been selected based on an understanding of being roughly quarterly, while also knowing when the SACOG board meetings are not here at these offices, when they are the offsite board meetings. So we're attempting to avoid those as well. So you'll see the dates listed in there. We understand that today there was a bit of a conflict with this being directly after the SACOG board meeting. So staff are going to work collaboratively to see what we can do to avoid that in the future, so it's a little less chaotic for you all. I'll also add that we're putting together a technical advisory committee for the CARTA board, which will have the executive directors from the current and future members of CARTA, so that the Sacramento Transportation Authority, Placer County Transportation Planning Agency, El Dorado County Transportation Commission, and Caltrans staff can get together with the current members to talk about what's upcoming at CARTA board agendas, just so your staffs are well aware, and the executive directors in transportation know what's happening. So that will take place prior to each CARTA board meeting. And then after each CARTA board meeting, staff will develop an information item about what took place at the CARTA board meeting. SACOG staff will be taking that as an information item at our transportation committee and at our SACOG board item, and our members are also welcome to do the same. So we're in that schedule also providing opportunities to make sure that everyone is kept aware of what's happening with the CARTA board.
Are there questions?
I just have a quick question, just for procedure and just process. I actually was like, how's that gonna work? So are all the members on this board also on the technical advisory committee, or?
Let me be more clear. So the technical advisory committee will be a staff level advisory committee so that your staffs are kept aware of what's happening at the CARTA board.
Thank you so much. Yep.
So that item does, I'm sorry, so making sure there are no public comments on the agenda item 3 with respect to the scheduled meetings.
There's no public comment.
No public comment. Very good. Okay, so bring it back to the board members. This does require adoption, so.
Early moves.
All right, so motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. We have scheduled. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if I can interrupt real quickly, I was in an effort to keep things moving. I went a little too fast on the first item. We actually did have a couple
Microphone a little closer.
we
sorry.
actually did have a couple of other actions on the first item other than just chair and vice chair.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll give it to
Right.
Eric to.
Yeah,
Thank you. So in addition to the chair and vice chair roles, one of the requirements of JPA is to designate a secretary. And so the staff report indicated having the executive director of SACOG serve as the secretary, also designating the auditor, controller, and treasurer as the county of Sacramento for the JPA. And then finally, for the purposes of the first year of CARTA, at least designating SACOG as the lead agency for administering it. So just wanted to formally have those. Those were the other components of action item number 1.
Does that mean James has to take notes?
He's got a good staff to help him out.
Try. All right, so very good. So thank you for that. And I did have that noted and I just went right over the top of it. So with that, we need a motion then for a secretary. But before we do, I did have a question about that. So I noted in there that Sacramento County would serve as the controller, auditor, treasurer.
What does that mean?
So, yeah, so I just want to understand, I don't think it's a big deal, but I want to understand, are we assuming that that role will be all one agency? Because oftentimes they're separate. Auditor, controller is one, the treasurer is something different, and they have distinct responsibilities. So if you can help me with that, Mike.
So long-term, we do have the option to appoint a private entity to serve in that role. We could hire an accountant, an auditor, things like that. Under the JPA law, you can appoint one of the county treasurer, auditor, controllers to serve in those positions. So to keep it simple, Sacramento does this service for SACOG. So since SACOG's doing the initial admin service, it just keeps everything consistent. That's also reflected in the JPA agreement, and the JPA agreement also lets us change that in the future. So it's a way to get us started, not necessarily what'll be the permanent option. It could be, just not necessarily.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or any questions by members of the board? So we do need a motion then, right?
Early moves.
All right,
I'll second.
you want to state your
Oh,
motion?
yes. Oh, there's several things here. Early moves to have James Corliss, no, I'm joking, to have the executive director of SACOG be the secretary for our JPA, as well as to have Sacramento Counter be the controller and treasurer for our JPA. That's
To provide administrative services.
absolutely, and for SACOG to provide administrative services for our group.
Very good. All right, so with that motion, we need a second.
Second.
Second by Board Member Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we've cleaned up that item. Thank you very much for that reminder, Mike. That then does take us to item 4, which is approval of the YOLO 80 facility application.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll take this item as well. So I won't belabor this too much. You all have heard me speak many times about the YOLO 80 Corridor Improvement Project and the process we're taking as partners here to be able to advance that project and keep the $86 million. So this action before you is another critical milestone in keeping on that schedule. The action requested by staff is to authorize the secretary, the newly appointed secretary, to submit a toll facility application to the California Transportation Commission in alignment with Assembly Bill 194 process. This gives the CARTA the ability to toll the segment of highway that's proposed on the YOLO 80 project. Attached to this staff report is the full draft of the Assembly Bill 194 toll facility application. It's also been summarized in a fact sheet, which is attachment A to your staff report. I'll point you to the second half of the back of the fact sheet to give you a sense of, in general, what's in the toll facility application. Overall, what we need to establish for the CTC, the California Transportation Commission, is that the project we're building is feasible. It's legal by Streets and Highways Code. We think the toll revenue will pay for itself. Then also that it's going to operate with a certain amount of interoperability with the other ones in the region. So folks who have fast track in the Bay Area, that there's some kind of communication so that we understand what's required of us by state policy. In general, those documents also try to retain as much flexibility as possible for this board to be able to make discretionary decisions about the operations of that toll facility and other toll facilities in the future. But there's sort of a baseline of understanding that we have to give the commission in order for them to give that approval. So we're largely done. The draft you see is very complete. There's just some minor details that staff are working out in collaboration with the staff of the California Transportation Commission. We expect to submit a final in the coming weeks.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you for that, Ms. Bernetti. Thank you. Any public comment on this item?
Yes, we do have a member of the public.
What was that? Yeah, good afternoon, board members. I'm Brian Abenat, Planning Director for YOLO Transportation District. And the purpose of my remarks this afternoon are to express YOLO Transportation District's support for submitting the tolling application to the CTC. As you can see in your packets, an enormous amount of effort was required in a short period of time with exceptional coordination between YOLO TD, SACOG, Caltrans District 3, and our consultants, WSP. So the significance of your leadership in advancing the region's first tolling facility cannot be overstated today. On a separate note, we'd like to express our appreciation to SACOG for two things. First, seamlessly staffing CARTA in the interim with extremely qualified staff. And number two, including in the staff report that through your action this afternoon, that CARTA is making commitments to prioritizing toll revenue funding for continuing the VMT mitigation program in the YOLO 80 EIR and an equity program after state mandated expenditures are covered. This is important because the YOLO 80 project is one of the first in the state to mitigate against VMT, and the EIR does assume that toll revenue will continue to fund the programs after the project's capital and VMT mitigation contribution is exhausted. So that concludes my remarks. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your support with the project.
Very good. All right. Thank you for being here, Brian. Appreciate it. No other public testimony on this item?
Chair Villegas, can I just briefly mention, I really appreciate Brian being here and making those comments. As we've been jointly doing a lot of outreach on the Yolo 80 project. I will just echo what Brian said. The fact that there is a proposed mitigation plan on the corridor, the fact that that homework has been done, that there are real projects with VMT benefits as part of that plan. And also, while it is very early still, but we're hopeful for a partnership on this that extends to Caltrans and headquarters looking at equity and sort of the implications on this corridor. Again, we don't have those answers yet. These are we're early in this, but those two things, the VMT mitigation and the real interest and sort of the equity implications. I was even back in DC this week. Those are exactly the issues that came up. And the good news is they're in the application. There's been a lot of groundwork laid on this already, and there's more work to be done.
Very good. Right. So thank you for that, James. Any other comments or questions by any of you members of the board? Thank you for your work. I know that was a huge lift to get that under the compressed time frame, but here we are. So it sounds like the draft is largely complete. Thank you. We need a motion to move that application forward.
Early, oh, no, go ahead, Chapman.
Moved. So moved.
So moved by Chapman, second by
Early.
Early. All right, no discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously as well. Thank you for that. Very good. All right, application on its way in the mail, as they say. Receive and file. So item 5 is draft conflict of interest code.
Chair, these are just 2 receive and file items, so we don't have a discussion necessarily prepared on these today. We're happy to answer questions if there are any. We just wanted to let the board know, essentially there's a rule you have to notice a conflict of interest code before you adopt it. This is really a bare bones conflict of interest code because we don't have any staff for CARTA at this time. But we thought putting it as a receive and file would be a good way to tee it up for the next meeting, and that way we've got it noticed ahead of time. And then item 6 is just a list of, it's basically our internal to-do list, but we wanted the board to be aware of the tasks that we're working on to actually get this off the ground. We'll be keeping you updated on that to show that those tasks were met as we move forward. So it's just to keep an open line of communication between staff and the board on this.
All right, very good. Give you the opportunity. Thank you for that, Mike. So I wanted to just make sure everybody had the opportunity to share thoughts, ideas. This is the inaugural meeting. We moved pretty quickly because the prior meeting required more time. So is there anybody that wants to add, share, what you're doing this weekend or what your life's most embarrassing moment was, whatever you want to offer?
I'll just say that this was excitingly anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Agreed, sir.
Very good. Very good. Well, we strove for that. Thank you. All right.
Can I
So
just say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to just quickly thank you, everyone in this room for your work on this with the partnerships that have happened. It's like in 10 minutes, we formed a JPA, created the bylaws, seated our first directors, adopted a meeting schedule, and then put forward an application for $100 million to CTC. So, and for your first job, chairing this JPA, you did a great job. Very efficient, but thank you in all seriousness for this has been a long time coming. And as we talked about in our board meeting earlier, under these tight timelines that we were working under that weren't self-imposed. And I can't say enough for the people that are in this room and who aren't in this room that represent agencies that work so closely together to move this forward. So thank you so much for all your work. And I look forward to in these meetings as we move forward on this exciting project. So thank you.
yeah. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to thank this board for allowing Caltrans to have a seat. And back to what James was mentioning, I think that's going to help a lot with collaboration and coordination as we go forward. So just want to thank the board for that.
Thank you.
And acknowledge.
Welcome. All right. Nobody else? All right.
It's already been said.
It's been said. All right. So with that, a reminder, Thursday, May 16th is the next meeting. Yes.
I want to keep Director Kennedy here just a little longer.
He's all.
Entertainment value. No, two quick other matters. I'll hand it over to Christina in a second. I think you've all seen this now, but again, in the quick startup of this toll authority, there is a website up there. So please make that known to people, get that out there. We do stream. We're going to be streaming these meetings. Again, just in terms of us providing the administrative duties. This will look and feel much how we do current things. But I just want to make sure if they're going to be listening online, you've got packets, you've got a website, and I want to hand it over to Christina Svensk for something else.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, this meeting was quick. There will be decisions that will be made in the future. One of those is going to be coming in May. So just a quick heads up. We are going to be providing the staff support for now, but we also recognize that we need some outside assistance in terms of figuring out how we are actually going to execute all of this. So we are going to be coming to you in May with an RFP to find some outside consultant help to kind of help through, like, what does the work plan look like? When do we need to do the things we need to do by, and so on. So it'll be a two-step thing. We need to take this to the SACOG board for the funding piece, because the dollars will be coming from SACOG, but then the actual RFP decision-making piece will come to the CARTA board, since this is on behalf of CARTA and not SACOG. So just a heads up on that moving forward. So
Good.
That was it. Happy to answer questions.
Very good. Thank you for that. And the reason we didn't move quickly, as I said, we're behind quite a bit. We're going to lose some folks by 1 o'clock. So more to come. If there are no other comments, I would just suggest, because it is the inaugural, I'm sorry. There was. Yes, sir.
Sure, just quickly. Christina, just quickly, so if the RFP comes in May and we don't meet again until September, what is the sort of overall idea around a consultant selection process and how this board's going to be involved in that?
Yeah, the decision, the May meeting will actually be the decision of the consultant. We're hoping to have the CARTA board make the decision of, yes, this is good.
Okay, gotcha. I
yeah.
misunderstood.
So
Thank
we
you.
can get started. No, I probably didn't.
Yeah, I was worried for you if it wasn't going to be till September.
No.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm happy that SACOG will be covering this. I almost am afraid to ask the question, but are we going to reimburse SACOG for this?
Yeah, so specifically what you're going to see, for those who are on SACOG, we're going to be bringing our draft budget forward to SACOG next month. Essentially what we're proposing to do is loan CARTA money, and then will be repaid in the future through revenues from the
Perfect. And it's a zero interest loan?
No, it's not. It's going to be at the LAIF that we get through Sacramento County. So
Okay.
we'll bring back the full details about all that. Yeah.
Capped at 3%. All right. So no other comments, just triple checking, make sure nobody has anything else. All right. So with that, I think it's official. We are adjourned.
Okay. Guys, can I take a quick picture?
Yeah, just
Come on, first one. Yep, I got a camera and I got a person already.
Pop that logo up behind you guys.
Perfect. All right.
Perfect, thank
Maybe
you.
We'll just kind of all shuffle down.
Yep,
Smart move.
perfect. Yes, James,
Right.
are you coming in? Yeah, you're gonna have to hustle though, because these people are trying to leave, like now.
All right, squeezing in. Yep,
Squeeze it in? Okay, are we good?
Or Patrick and I again. Scoot up front here.
Ooh, this is bright.
I know it. There. Are you good? Close enough?
Okay, I'm gonna do, Katie, can you turn off the projector real quick?
Thank you.
You know, can't see it.
There's some shining going on.
I know, but it's just.
Easy.
I got some.
Easy. Thank you.
Just waiting for this.
There we go.
There we go.
Tell us when?
Okay, perfect, yay. Oh,
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Hey.
I'll tag everyone who has a page.